Welcome back to our little chateau. Lots of you have asked if the house is haunted or has any ghosts. So it's quite appropriate my husband Kev did call it our Adams Family Haunted Mansion. I didn't really believe in ghosts and spirits, but once we started talking about it, we realised that there's a lot of unusual things that have happened whilst we've been living here. So ghost number one showed itself here in this room, which is our bedroom, although we're not in the house at the moment, we're living next door. We're pretty sure it's a lady, as all you really get is the smell of perfume. My husband Kev describes it as old lady's lavender water, something your nan or great nan might have worn. Nothing more than that from this lady, other than you catch a shadow or movement out of the corner of your eye. This bedroom would have been the master of the house's bedroom. The cupboard to the right is in fact where the maid would have sat at night, because there's not enough room to lie down in. I assume to keep the fires going and to get anything the master of the house or his wife wanted. In fact, the room was like the rest of the house, full of the previous occupants' possessions. Beds were made up and soiled. There was photos, birth certificates, wedding certificates. It was really quite eerie and also sad, because none of the children wanted their parents' possessions. There was a photo of all the family having Christmas dinner, but it didn't seem a happy photo. It also gave you almost a sense of knowing them. We're pretty sure it's not the mum in the photo that seems to be present here. It seems to be a much older lady from the way she's dressed, but as I said, you only catch a fleeting glance. This is the bottom of the tower. Originally here, there was a toilet, but it was one of the old French stand-up type. When we first came here and was renovating, this was the only toilet we had, as we ripped everything else out. Obviously, you have to keep one toilet for emergencies. But my husband Kev really hated using this toilet, as he always felt like somebody was there, and the hairs on the back of his neck would stand up. And when he turned around, he'd just catch a glimpse or a shadow of somebody walking past the door, followed by the smell of the old French Gauloise cigarettes. So much so that if I was around, he'd make me stand on guard at the door. This is the chambre de marquis. It's the oldest part of the house. This bedroom has the crest of the chevalier, who would have been one of the king's main knights. As far as we know, not many properties have one of this crest. It has the knight's helmet with a branch of laurel each side. Although we have a lot of history of the property, we've not been able to find out his name. So we refer to him as the Chevalier Laureate. One, because of the name of the property is Chateau, and two, because branches of laurel each side of the helmet on the crest. Not many people have slept in this room while we've lived here. My mum has, and my son sleeps in the room next door. And that's where the third ghost comes in. As we were renovating and the house was becoming more habitable, he decided he didn't want to live in the sheet next door. He wanted to come and sleep in his bedroom here in the main house, probably to get up to mischief, so we didn't know. So at 3:20 every morning, he'd be woken up by all his bedding being pulled off and being thrown across the room. One way to get him off for school, I suppose, but that was a bit early. Strangely enough, it didn't seem to bother him, and it carried on for a few years, even after we all moved in. Me personally, I would not have slept in there. But one day, it just stopped. Also with this room, the first few years here, whenever my husband was working in different rooms in the house, the tools he was using, be it a hammer or a screwdriver, would just disappear, and he couldn't find them anywhere. Then they would turn up in this room. Weird as no work was being done in this room at the time, something we can never explain, especially as it was when he was working here on his own. But all of that seems to have stopped now, and things are pretty quiet, although you do get some loud bangs coming from the attic sometimes. Next, my first granddaughter was born 2 months premature, so it was quite a frightening time for us, her coming so early, and she was in hospital for quite a long time. While she was in the premature baby unit, red poppies started appearing in the hundreds in the middle of our courtyard, where there had never been any for the previous 11 years, and none since, and they kept growing there until she came out of hospital. I must explain here that my father loved France. He had an estate agent based in England and France, and his company's logo was a red poppy. And he even called his company Flanders. So it's quite strange, at this stressful time, all these poppies kept appearing. The next one was with my granddaughter Sophia. Her father was in the French military, and when he was away, her and my daughter would come and sleep in her mum's old bedroom. One night, they were lying in bed, and my granddaughter started waving. When asked, she said she was waving to the monsieur, with a dog that was smiling at her, which probably meant it was growling. So with that, it frightened my daughter, so she decided to turn the lights off and go to sleep. She got up, and my granddaughter said, "It's all right, Maman, the monsieur will turn the lights off for us." Another time, my younger daughter found a pretty little table, which had been left in the house, and she wanted to upcycle it and use it as a dressing table. So my husband was showing her what to do, and opened the drawer of the table and just froze in shock. There was a button from the car radio. Here I need to explain. Before we came to France, my father had a Fiat Punto that he loved. But when he got cancer and could no longer drive anymore, we brought it off of him for our eldest daughter. Great little car, but the button kept falling off the radio all the time, and spent most of its time in the ashtray in the car. So before we came to France, we sold the car because we didn't need it. So the car and the button never came to France, but the very button was there, in this drawer, in our house in France, and the table had never been to England. The last one was a discussion with a local restaurant bar owner. He said he would never come to our house after dark, and we asked why. And he said on the bridge, which is behind me, the other side of the lake, you could hear Madame Chevalier sing. Hadn't we ever heard her? And this was the reason that none of the locals would come to our property after dark. Although we've never seen or heard anything there, for many years when we walked over the bridge, you could get a strong perfume smell. We thought it was just blossom or something similar. But it did used to be all year round. We did have some friends who stayed in their camper van to fish the lake, and one of them had the life frightened out of him by a woman talking to him during the night. This could possibly be Madame Victoire Laverne Champloria. Both her and her husband came from wealthy landowning families, and they loved the property so much they added the name of the property to their family name. But maybe that was something that people did at the time. Anyway, she ended up going to Paris to try and save her husband, but to no avail, and they both ended up visiting guillotine. So with all these things happening at our little chateau, maybe I should start believing. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time.